talking tonight about a new topic. We've entitled this one, Until There Are None.
Until there are none.
And I do this every time, but you see how it shows it's... I don't know. Okay.
You do that every time.
Every time.
You might as well just make it a thing.
Okay, so here we go.
I have a joke. Rudy Giuliani and Donald Trump.
Okay, so what are we talking about?
I don't know.
Yes, you do.
That's the joke.
I know.
Yeah.
Come on.
I don't know.
My joke was not reacting to that terrible joke.
The last 3 days of my life and your life have been unbelievable, more than energies, but dimensional flipping. I think yesterday I must have hit 42 different dimensions in one day. I mean, it felt like I was being, and you can see it as people start to talk about what's going on. It has been phenomenal. Started May 1st, and it was just like, it's been a very unbelievable,
very interesting. I've just experienced of the world, or in the world, but what is it? What do I always say? Of the world, but not in it.
Yeah.
It was a physical feeling of that. Like I was here, but I wasn't here.
I'm still there.
Yeah.
I'm still kind of like.
So I think you can kind of tell already by the way this video is starting out. We're a little out of it. In a good way.
Very, very good way. Still observing what's happening in 0 Point, because 0 Point's happening to all of us.
But I'm glad we started with that, because I think there's probably anyone who watches this, maybe, or anyone maybe experiencing this kind of like, whoa, like have a hard time gathering thoughts, and just it's been different pressures and I don't know, pressure changes and things like that. But so it's been a very interesting week. But
we were going to do this talk yesterday, but it was so overwhelmingly.
I don't remember yesterday. It's gotten crazy.
Yeah, it's gotten crazy, but I began the story today with Giuliani and Donald Trump, and I'm going to say it. I always like to document these things. Episode 7, Sun Salutations.
Oh, I didn't say what episode it was. Episode 7.
Mr. Trump has enlisted in his last battle and has let go all of his attorneys and hired. Did you know he hired Bill Clinton's impeachment attorney? There's one guy, Cohen, his office got raided, dealing with the situation. The longtime guy left him, and he picked up Rudy Giuliani, who today unknowingly threw him under the bus for another thing that's occurring as more of a private matter. But it seems to be that everyone is out to get everybody. Have you noticed that?
Oh, it's a constant battle, yeah.
It's a battle of egos.
From the moment it started.
And what I'm observing...
Well, that's the government. It's a battle of egos.
It's gotten...
It's gotten to a new level.
Yeah, it's so out of hand that we're about to see and witness the end of an old way of doing things. It's like the GOP, the grand old Republican Party. It seems like every day somebody's announcing retirement. The head of the guy, the Paul Ryan, the young one, the young stud in the Republican Party he's I'm done. And I read something the other day about this. He said, I didn't leave the Republican Party. The Republican Party left me. And I think that particular party, and then the Democratic Party as well, that they're all in it for themselves. And then there are a handful of people in there. You know what I also realized the other day? Our government is set up in checks and balances. I think the way that it's set up is super stellar. It's the people that are involved that are fucking things up. You follow me there? I think that the way it's set up, everything's set up into checks and balances. I think that if the appropriate minds working from...
Well, it's selfish versus selfless. The government isn't for the people.
It was originally written for the people.
But it's...
Yeah. And
who knows even back then?
The reason that I want
view on that.
to start off with that is because according to my observation, I am witnessing an unseen force that flipped a sort of a switch and magnetized all these egomaniacal belief systems, and they're all pulling towards one another. And you've heard me say this 100 times, and the people have heard me say this as well. Chaos precedes calm. Disharmony precedes harmony. And we're witnessing that coming to what many of the greats have deemed a 0 point, Terence McKenna. And we're witnessing that. And I don't know necessarily if there's going to be a specific point in 0 point, or is it a bunch of points that are kind of mashed out together.
Yeah, that's my question. Has 0 point happened like every decade? Is it a constant?
I don't know.
That's a whole other talk. But.
This is, you had the question prior to the show. Is that possible? I don't know.
Is it possible to, see if everyone has a different perception and everyone...
Well, what's happening is
how
everyone has a different perception. Perceptions are caused by belief systems. If the belief systems go away, perceptions go away. And I'm feeling a moment will come to pass to where there's a universal understanding. The only way that that's going to occur is if everybody on this planet goes within and realizes their own power. But this magnetizing of these belief systems, it's pulling everything. Splang, bang, everybody's got an attorney. I said this before. Attorneys.
You stand back, it's everything in the world that's an issue right now is belief system against belief system.
Yeah. And these belief systems
and it's not just religion,
are being
it's other beliefs.
Shattered.
It's
Perceptions are caused by belief systems. Belief systems are created by man who go outwardly and seek outwardly for power.
Yeah.
Those that are going inward connect. Those that decide to go inward, all connect to the same source. Universal understanding. Something has flipped a switch and magnetized all of these belief systems, and they're fucking crumbling right before our eyes. Now.
No, but don't you find, I just always say it's interesting because of perceptions. We have people that I have seen that don't seem to be seeing the crumble, and that's what's just so fascinating.
If you aren't seeing the crumble by now, like I said prior, Rudy Giuliani's involved. Anyone supporting Donald Trump right now is involved with whatever they're hiding.
Oh, yeah.
You don't go to a jackass like that unless you've been a jackass.
You go out of your way. He went out of his way to come back and be like, I'm part of it now.
This, I got you. And then today tweets out, he threw him under the bus with what he thought was going to be something that was helpful at the same time. I had this thing today. Who would have thought Twitter would be the reason that the entire government system collapses? It's Twitter's fault.
No, it's not.
I know.
It's Twitter's purpose.
It's Twitter's purpose. Twitter is going to be the cause of our collapse of the government.
Just mention, because Sun, Mind, and Body is now on Twitter.
Oh, we've got like 34 million followers
already
in 3 days.
So if you're not on there,
so you better, because there's like a limit of like 35 million.
So we're new to this, but I had that thought. So I'm flipping through, just looking on there, and it's like, they told Chris today, I can't imagine what we kind of say being your thoughts, meaning when you see something that upsets you or something that, catches your eye and you latch onto it.
Grabbing onto the pop thoughts.
Onto the thoughts. No, what you're reading, not even the pop thoughts. Grabbing onto all this hate and all these things that I'm seeing that are negative on Twitter.
Yeah. I'm
just saying, if an individual were to grab onto those, they could literally go crazy.
You're seeing it. Yeah.
It is so... I've, again, never been on Twitter, so it's like, it's a different form. It's so much different than Instagram. It's so much different than Facebook. Mm-hmm. I know this is like, everyone knows this, but hey, I'm new to this. But, so, it's just like, all this, like, this is like, my strong opinion, your belief system's wrong, this, that, negative, it's this way, I'm right, you're wrong, and it's like, whoa, it's just a lot. And so, I was like, okay, I moved past it. But just thinking, like, how intense that must be for a lot of individuals if you're attached to all the chaos.
To a belief system.
Yeah, and chaos would be like, well, that's against my belief system. How could you in this? You know, it's just, anyway.
They've been magnetized.
I just was
you
like,
watch.
Whoa, it just...
And another thing I thought about the other day, karma, okay, let's start over. Grace is given by... just given. It's a natural thing. I've said before that karma will override your grace, self-induced, and then correct its path in, disharmony to harmony. Cyberspace is energy. What you put out into cyberspace is going to come back to you. And
because that's everything's
there's
energy.
a lot of hate coming out,
especially through that Twitter channel.
You can't put that out and expect some positivity to come back. That's not how it works. How we are, I've said this before, there's the source doesn't speak English or Russian or German or French. It speaks vibration. And if you're throwing that hate out there on cyberspace, that's just going to come back and get you. Twitter was created to bring down, because when Twitter was thought of, put into action, created, manifested into reality, it took on its own life.
Yeah,
Twitter's
it's a really interesting way to think about that. Yeah.
Twitter understands its purpose to be allow ignorance to flow. Ignorance will come back and shut itself down. I've always said that it's going to implode. It's like on a really cool graphic space movie, when they hit and they go, wow, you can see it slow motion almost explode. That's what's occurring. And until there are none, there will come a time. I don't know how long it's going to take. I feel there's going to be...
none, you mean there are no belief systems?
There are no belief systems, which no belief systems allow a universal understanding. If there's nothing to latch onto as far as a belief system, you're forced to go inward. You go inward, you connect. Everyone's connected to the same, therefore there is a universal understanding.
And the power to create the world how each individual wants to see it.
Hence, heaven on earth.
Yes.
And if, that doesn't make any sense, I'm sorry, but I had that realization on Monday, and I got to think about it. What is today?
It's Thursday. Almost Friday.
Yeah. I got to think about it for that long, and I have a bunch of notes, but it's just until there are none, And it's happening rather quickly. Levels of perception are caused by belief systems, blah, blah, blah. People are more concerned in a belief system to be the top of that belief system. Let's use Trump for an example. Trump's the top dog. Well, look at what type of an example he is. Cutthroat. These are things that we've already known. I'm not saying anything. I'm just saying these are known things about him. And he was given everything in the world. He was given the President of the United States of America. I always say this. You're either going to be made an example or you're going to be the example.
Yeah.
And he's being made an example. And I always like to talk, the reason I use him as an example is because he's got millions of people who manifest him into reality, into the President of the United States, through their thoughts, because of their fears.
Well, I feel like there's a lot of people who thought they would want him there, and then it was only intensified because everyone who didn't want him in there, and that's all they thought about.
And that's where the clash, but
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, the world has.
So it's just like both sides.
These belief systems, something, the divine, obviously, flipped on a switch, and they've been magnetized, and they're pulling together, and they're looking, they're seeking. I got an attorney now, bitch. So do I. Let's go to battle. I mean, Donald Trump is now taking on Robert Mueller, and that's not a good idea. On a personal level, we can see it out in the open, but on a personal level, it also works. I wrote something today about speaking your truth and see how many people stick around. You are witness to how many people stuck around. They end up becoming your family. That's what soul family is called. And you see people jump. I'm out. And being you scares a lot of people. And I find it is a fascinating thing to witness a human being afraid of another human being, because that individual is just simply being themselves. No attachments. What do you mean no attachments? There's one attachment. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But that just, this whole thing came together, and I was like, wow, okay. The magnetization of all these belief systems that are crashing, and it's worldwide. It's not just in the United States. It is worldwide, of and awakenings like we've discussed with Kanye and Kim Jong-un. But I don't know whether to laugh or be sad. You and I both know that
it's a comedic tragedy.
A comedic tragedy is what it is. We're witnessing that live, and it's not only just them there that are in the public eye. It's everyone. Like attracts like. The character makeup of millions of supporters is going to be the manifestation of that same character makeup. You see what I'm saying there? Mm-hmm. They're going to want the same them. They're going to want an example of themselves in that position. Well, they want. And now it's just fucking chaos. And I'm just going to say that all the way down the line, it's the same thing. And that disruption is shaking a lot of people's systems that they're attached to. And those belief systems are going to crumble, because belief systems are ego. My team's better than yours, right? That type of thing.
You're almost there.
Yeah.
You got it.
You can do it. Be like me.
You're almost just like me.
Yeah,
keep
but
going.
I have more money than you, and a better car, and a better house. So keep going. That ain't flying anymore. And you see it every day. People are just like, man, fuck this. I'm gonna go follow my heart, which is what this is for. But I'm just gonna say that that's been my observation, and I find it so fascinating that it's being expedited. But if you step back and look at it, they're being pulled together, just kind of like when a solar system is born. Everything's pulled together, it crashes, spins around, eventually catches its space, and everybody revolves around the sun. And that, my friends, is the age of Aquarius, God's eye.
And these spaceships crashing are like little truth bombs.
Yeah.
Because all the truths are going to come out about
it's like
that full disclosure and all that stuff.
Yeah.
It's
So it's here. It's happening every day, and I found that so interesting to see that it happens on a cosmic level, as above, so below. It happens here. You know, you can do as above, so below on Earth, and then beneath. Roots, trees.
And you're always in the middle.
Yeah, Alan Watts says you're always in the middle, regardless of where you are in the universe.
There's always something bigger than you, and there's always something smaller.
You're always in the middle, and yet everyone is taught to strive to be number one. That's where it's at. And that's where it goes back to the individual has no competition. I wrote that a while back about some things. I don't know when, but there will come to pass a universal understanding, because we're all ultimately, without belief systems, going to perceive things and this existence via the connection of the source the same. And that's the only way that it's going to have to happen. All right?
It's backwards.